Please be seated.
The document.
Did you mean 0109 at 0024?
No, Your Honours, I meant 0109-0019 at 0024. The document is KenyaOTP 01090019. A bit confusing, but that's the first page. Mr. Court Officer, do you have it?
Yes, I have it, and it's in this moment being shown to the witness at paragraph 30.
Mr. Steinberg, it may be a matter of detail, but let's understand this thing so that there's no confusion. It should be 0109 and 0024, isn't it?
Your Honours, it's customary, obviously, to call up the first page of the document. Yes.
So the first page is the page. 0019 is the page.
Yes.
And 0024 is also a page.
Yes, Your Honour.
All right, yeah.
But they're all pages in the series
Yes.
0109.
All right. Hey, that's what I
Yes.
meant. So we're on the same
Yes.
page. It's just that we just
Okay.
don't want to confuse the signal.
Sorry, just in case there's any confusion about how I normally read the references, I will read out the full reference once, and then the second reference, just the last 4 digits, because that's the only thing that changes throughout the document.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Can you see that in front of you from paragraph 30?
Yes.
Let's just start off with asking you, you describe in these paragraphs 30 through to 34, going over to the next page, a rally which was held prior to the 2005 referendum in November at Besiabo. And my question is that correct or is that incorrect? Did you attend such a rally?
I didn't attend.
So what's contained in these chapters, in these paragraphs, I beg your pardon, about the rally, where does that information come from? Did you make that up?
Sorry?
If you didn't attend this rally, Mr. Witness, where does the information that is written in these 5 paragraphs come from?
It is a make-up story.
So you made it up?
Yes.
Very well. Can you please call up the following page, Mr. Court Officer, that's from the same series, page 0025.
Page 0025, at paragraph 35 onwards, is being shown to the witness.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Witness, you see the heading there which says Harambe at Kaptabe Secondary School, 19 November 2007. Do you have that?
I believe this was an open session, and if you mention Kaptabe, and then you are showing.
Very well, Your Honours. The witness is uncomfortable. We can go into private session. I don't believe it's necessary, but...
For how long?
That rather depends on the witness's answer to my next question, but I don't imagine it will be more than 3 or 4 minutes, I suspect.
Well, let's go in and see what the witness's answer to your next question says, and then we will see if we need to remain, in private session or come out. Private session.
Please.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Witness, you just told the chamber in private session that you, in fact, never attended any Harambe at Kapta Secondary School on this date, and that, in fact, you'd made up what is contained in your statement in that regard. Is that correct?
Yes.
So my question was, for what purpose did you invent this incident and tell it to the OTP investigators?
It was to show that Mr. Ruto incited the public against the Kikuyu community.
Was this part of the plan then to fix Mr. Ruto, as you put it?
Yes.
And in order to fix Mr. Ruto, what did you tell the investigators then about this Harambe? I see you're looking at your statement.
Yes.
Can you remember what you told the investigators to fix Mr. Ruto?
Yes, that Mr. Ruto said that all PNU supporters should be hospitalized or should be taken to hospital.
All PNU supporters should be taken to hospital. I see.
Yeah, from the region.
From their region, is that what you said?
Yes, from that area, Kaptebe.
Right. Now, you give quite a lot of detail about this supposed Harambe. Let me just understand you. Are you saying that there was no such event that took place? There was no such Harambe? That's a figment of your imagination?
The Harambe was there, but I never attended.
So what is contained here about the events at the Harambe, I think you've already said that was from your imagination.
Your Honour, I do object. My learned friend has been leading, and in my respectful submission, there was merit in the procedure that was being followed last week. The witness, of course, said that the statement is a combination. Some parts are true, some parts are false. Your Honour, it seems to me that it would be of assistance to all parties, and especially the trial chamber, to know which parts are true and which parts are false. This is a case in point. The witness was taken in broad terms to the statement that dealt with an Harambe. Your Honour, the witness wasn't taken to the contents of the statement, so to speak, and it would be helpful, in my respectful submission, for the prosecution to go through, and so we can find out which parts are true and which parts are false. The fact that Mr. Ruto was not there and that the witness wasn't there, of course, are key. But, Your Honour, the witness has also said the Harambe itself was organised. So it would be useful, we say, to go through it methodically, so at the end we can put the testimony of the witness as against the statement that's before you. That would help clarify and assess the credibility of the witness, and it also would be an important step, we say, to the assessment of overall credibility. Your Honour, otherwise, if the witness isn't taken to particular parts of the statement, never mind to refresh his memory,
Mr. Khan, I think
we'll get confusion.
I've got your point.
I'm grateful.
Mrs. Steinberg?
Well, Your Honours, if the witness's version, and it seems to be changing, but if the witness's version is that he simply made all of this up, and it's a figment of his imagination, there's no need then to go through the contents, because by definition it's all false. That flows. But now he seems to be saying that such an event did take place, so perhaps I need to explore it a little bit further.
Yeah, but even before that, you had actually, as the witness, that there's a lot of details here. And why did he? So you were interested in those details. So yes, let's, if you're accepting Mr. Khan's offer, as he made it last week, it's up to you to do that.
In the current circumstances, I'm happy to do it, Your Honours, but if, in fact, it transpires that an event was a complete fabrication, then I wouldn't want to waste the prosecution's time going through the details of it. So, Mr. Witness, let me just understand you correctly. If this Harambee did in fact take place, how did you, and you weren't there, how did you find out about it?
Sorry?
It's a simple question, Mr. Witness. Please listen. If this Harambee did not actually take... Sorry, I'll start again. I'm confusing myself now. You say you did not attend this Harambee, correct?
Yes.
But you say that such an event did take place. Is that right?
Yes.
So, how did you find out about it?
I didn't ask anybody, but I just formulated my words since I knew the area well. I knew the leaders, so I had only to combine the story and make it up.
The prosecutor wanted to know how you learned that the Harambee did, in fact, take place. Never mind now the story you made up to supply details to that Harambee. You said you did not attend. But if you knew that the Harambee did, in fact, occur, how did you know that?
Your Honor, I don't know the exact date that the Harambee took place, but it was that month of November.
All right. How did you learn that the Harambee took place in that month of November, whatever date it might happen?
Yes, I heard from the locals when they were preparing.
Thank you. Stand up.
Thank you, Your Honours. But if I understand you correctly, apart from the fact that the event took place, everything else recorded here is words that you made up? Is that what you said?
Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, my objection is the same. As my learned friend said, there's a lot of detail in the statement. The witness has said there are parts true and part false. It's up to my learned friend, but it may be relevant, and I reserve my right to raise it. The fair thing to do would be to go through that detail and say which parts are true, which parts are false, and the bits that are true, why does he believe it to be true? Did he hear it from other people or whatnot? But, Your Honour, that way we'll have a clear record. But I apologise for having to object again, but I have no other option.
Now, this is a matter that's purely an offer you're making to the prosecution. It is up to the prosecutor on this one to accept it or reject your offer. Mr. Steinberg, do you accept Mr. Can's offer to you to proceed in that way?
Your Honours, to the extent that such an offer is necessary, I'm content to ask one or two further questions. But I respectfully submit that the witness has now clearly stated that everything contained here is a figment of his imagination.
It's up to you,
Yes.
Mr. Steinberg. If you say you do not accept it, I will overrule the objection immediately and then allow Mr. Can to explore those details during his cross-examination. But if you want to accept his offer, then you may proceed. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Your Honours. I'll accept his offer to a limited extent and deal with one or two selected items.
Then proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Witness, in the first paragraph under this section, paragraph 35, you mentioned that you attended this Harambee which started at 3 p.m. on the 19th of November in order to raise funds to build a science laboratory for the school. Was that in fact the purpose of the Harambee as you understood it?
Yes, that was the purpose.
Now, you say that it was organized by the Board of Governance, chaired by a Mr. Kirui, and the vice chair was Joseph Barsulai. Is that correct? Or is that something you made up?
I'm not sure of that.
So if you're not sure, is that something you put down of your own accord?
Yes.
There were maybe 600 people in attendance, including primary school children, secondary school children, and their parents. Is that correct, or is that something you made up?
It is not correct.
So it's something you made up.
Yes.
The main speakers were Ruto, Dennis Muri, Kirui, and Barsulai. Is that correct, or is that made up?
No. It is not correct.
I see. You then go through various details of the procedure there, which I'll assume was also made up by you. And then you start giving details of the speech by Mr. Ruto. Is there any truth in what you've recorded here about Mr. Ruto's speech?
No.
Just time back, can you spell the word, the name appearing at line 9 of the previous page? I don't think your microphone was on, was it?
I beg your pardon. Kirui is K-I-R-U-I. Joseph Barsulai is correctly spelled. Your Honor, I think that that is all I need to cover at this stage, and if necessary, I can return to this issue later. Thank you, Your Honor. One last aspect regarding the date of this meeting. You gave the date as the 19th of November 2007. If I understand your evidence, you didn't know the exact date of this.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Court Officer, can you confirm when that page is up?
I confirm that page 0026 is being presented to the witness at paragraphs 45 onward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Court Officer, you should know your microphone is a bit low. It's sometimes hard to hear you. Mr. Witness, these paragraphs leading on to right up to paragraph 63 purport to describe a rally at Turbo in early December 2007. The first question is, well, the first line reads, I attended a rally in Turbo in early December 2007 sometime. The exact date must be in my diary. The rally took place at St. Columban's Primary School. I have drawn a map of the area surrounding the school. Did you in fact attend such a rally?
No.
Are you aware that such a rally in fact took place?
No.
So, let's start at the beginning then. The very fact and existence of this rally, is that something you made up or is that something you heard about?
I made it up.
I see. And the events described in the paragraphs that follow, again, is this something you made up? I suppose it follows.
And Mr. President, I apologise to rise, but it's the way it's being done. Your Honour, reference has been made to paragraphs. The witness doesn't have a hard copy. It's not clear that he's read the paragraphs. But, Your Honour, be that as it may, at the very least we should tell the witness, are we talking about an ODM rally or a PNU rally?
Your Honours, I'm really at a loss for the legitimate reason for these constant interruptions. My learned friend has the statement in front of him. He knows exactly what type of rally the witness is talking about. I wasn't there. I only know what the witness tells me. So why it is that I should be telling the witness about a rally he is testifying about is quite frankly beyond me.
Objection is overruled.
Thank you, Your Honours. And once again, I note that this appears to have nothing to do with the question of declaring
Objection
a witness.
has been overruled, Mr.
As the court pleases. Mr. Witness, the question which I posed before the objection was whether or not the paragraphs, and you don't need to read them because you should be able to tell us this, if there was no such rally, where does all this information come from that is recorded in this statement?
I'd say that I made it up.
All right. You mentioned at paragraph 45 that this rally was in early December 2007, but that the exact date must be in your diary. And if we turn to your diary, will we find this reference there too?
I don't know if it is there.
If it is there, when would it have been recorded?
Should be last year.
And remind us again of the purpose for recording the dates in your diary as you met with the investigators?
Was to concur with the statement that I had made.
Very well. I'd like then to, at this stage, have a look at your diary. And if I can ask the court officer to call up from the series KenOTP 01090082. Kindly call up 0146. And while that's being called up, Mr. Witness, can I just ask you then, this rally you were talking about in your mind, were you describing a PNU rally, a KANU rally, an ODM rally? What type of rally were you describing?
An ODM rally.
And where was this rally you described supposedly held?
It wasn't there.
Yes, but according to what you told investigators, where was it held? Is it
At
Bessiabo?
St. Columban's Primary, Turbo.
In Turbo. Very well.
Yes.
Mr. Court Officer, is the page up yet?
Yes, the page is up. It's document KenOTP 01090082 at page 0146.
Thank you very much. Mr. Witness, do you see the entry at 21 December on the right-hand side towards the bottom?
Yes, I have seen.
It reads ODM rally-turbo. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that the rally you were talking about in your statement, the supposed rally?
Yes.
So the first question is, according to your statement, this rally took place in the early part of December 2007. Why is it recorded here that the entry is recorded under the 21st? Yes, we're waiting.
I don't know why.
It doesn't seem to concur with your statement, does it?
Yes.
You can't explain why, if the reason was to fill in dates to concur with your statement, that this date should be different. Yes, there's a long pause. Do you have an answer?
I think I've forgotten.
Mr. Steinberg, can you look at the 15th?
Yes, Your Honor. That refers to a rally from a different party.
All right.
The witness clearly said it was an ODM rally. Your Honor, I have gone through both statements and I'm unable to find any references in the early first half of December for any ODM rallies. In fact, any other ODM rallies other than this one. Now, at the time when you handed over these diaries to the investigators, did you sign any other statements regarding the details in these diaries?
I can't remember.
Well, let's try and refresh your memory then. Mr. Court Officer, can you please call up KenOTP 01090071? I believe it is R01. At the front page, the one I've just read out. Yes, confirm R01. Your Honours, it's at tab 21 of the binders.
The document is being shown to the witness. First page, 0071.
You see, Mr. Witness, that the document bears your name and appears to bear your handwritten name and signature at the bottom and the date 14/07/2013. Does that refresh your memory?
Yes.
Is this in fact the statement you gave to the investigators when you handed the diaries in?
Yes.
Mr. Court Officer, can you please call up page 0076 of that same document? Specifically paragraph 21. Confirm when it's up, please.
Paragraph 21 is at page 0074, and it's being shown to the witness.
I beg your pardon, that is my mistake. It's paragraph 28, dated 21 December.
Paragraph 28 is being shown to the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Court Officer. Let's just read through that, shall we, this nothing identifying here. At 21 December 2007, referring to your diary now, I have entered in my 2007 diary, quote, ODM rally dash turbo, unquote. And in my 2008 diary, I have entered, quote, ODM rally dash turbo, comma, Besiabo, end quote. This is my handwriting, and I made the entry in my 2008 diary in the evening of the same day. I entered this in my 2007 diary a while later. I have no explanation why I left out Besiabo, quote unquote, from my 2007 diary. I referred to these rallies in my previous statement at paragraph 45 as having taken place in early December. I have no explanation why I left out Besiabo, quote unquote, from my 2007 diary. I referred to these rallies in my previous statement at paragraph 45 as having taken place in early December. I have no explanation why I left out Besiabo, checking my diaries that these took place on 21 December 2007. You remember telling that to the investigators? Mr. Witness, it's been half a minute now. Are you having difficulties?
No, I was still reading that paragraph.
Do you now recall whether or not you told this to the investigators?
I can't recall.
Do you dispute that if it's contained in this document? I see your initials, what appear to be your initials at the bottom of this page. I won't read them out because we're in public session. You confirm those are your initials?
Yeah, those are my initials.
All right. Do you accept, Mr. Witness, that this is what you told the investigators?
I can't recall by now if I told them that.
If you hadn't told them that, Mr. Witness, can you explain, do you have any explanation why this should have been recorded in the manner that it is, if the purpose was for your diary to correspond with your earlier statement, as you told the court last week?
Sorry?
Take you through it simply. You told the court last week that you went to fetch your diary, you brought it back and sat with the investigators and added entries in order that your diary would correspond with the statement you had given earlier, the previous week. Is that right?
Yes.
So my question then is, if you were busy fixing the diary, if we can call it that, why is there this discrepancy between the date that you actually recorded in the diary and the version you gave the investigators in your previous statement?
Yeah, I think previously, because all this was something that was cooked up, I had said early December. And then when we met with the investigators, I don't remember why we had to push it to 21 December.
As you were making these entries in the diary, did you have your statement with you? Did the investigators have your statement with you to
Yes,
check that there was correspondence?
they had. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
And you can't recall why it's recorded the 21st then?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Court Officer. I'd like then to return to the original statement. Back to I'll read out the ERN again. It's 01090019, and if we can please call up 0027 from paragraph 48 onwards.
Page 0027 is being presented to the witness. Paragraph 48 onwards.
Thank you. I draw your attention to paragraph 49 and I'll read it out. It says, there were many people in town that day because it was a market day, which means that it was either a Tuesday or a Saturday. Most of the people in town came to the rally. There were maybe 2,000 people there. Any of that true?
No.
Again, what interests me, Mr. Witness, is you say in your original statement that it was either a Tuesday or a Saturday. Why is it that you picked a Friday? 21st of December is a Friday. Why was that day picked that doesn't correspond with your statement? The witness, it's a very short paragraph, only 2.5 lines. Do you have an answer?
Maybe if I can go over the whole diary.
How do you think that would help you, Mr. Witness?
Because I'm seeing there were some contradictions.
I don't understand how that would help you. You've told the court last week what the purpose was of filling in these dates. And the purpose you told the court was in order to correspond with your statement. Can you not recall now, this is approximately a year ago that this happened, can you not recall now why this was done? In other words, why this did not correspond?
I wanted to check the PNU rally, the day that the PNU rally took place and the ODM rally, so that maybe when filling the diary, we may have missed between the ODM and the PNU.
Can you please call up Mr. Court Officer, the diary 01090082 at 0145.
Page 0145 is being presented.
Is that what you had in mind, Mr. Witness, the entry on the 15th?
Yes.
So what is your explanation then?
My explanation is that there was contradiction between the PNU rally and the ODM rally.
Do you discuss this PNU rally in your statement? Can you remember?
I can't remember it now.
I presume it's unlikely that Mr. Ruto would be speaking at a PNU rally. Would that be correct?
No.
How is it that you could have confused these two occasions when you're talking about a rally at which Mr. Ruto allegedly attended?
Yes, I was saying that because the diary was filed later on, I assume that maybe when we were filling the diary, we may have missed between the PNU rally and the ODM rally.
That was very careless. Very well, let's move on from the dates then.
Mr. Steinberg, don't do that again.
Mr. Court, pleases. Moving on from the dates, again, what was the purpose of your inventing this story about the rally for the investigators?
To assure that Ruto organized political meetings which was used to ignite the hatred between the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu.
In the version you gave the investigators, did you tell them about words spoken by Mr. Ruto at this rally?
Pardon?
In this version that you gave the investigators in your statement about this rally, did you tell them that Mr. Ruto spoke at the rally?
I don't remember.
Mr. Court Officer, can you please call up 01090019 at page 0028?
Page 0028 is being presented to the witness. Paragraph 58 onwards.
I'd like to focus your attention on paragraphs 60 and 61. Let's just go through those. This deals with speech allegedly given by Mr. Ruto at this event. You start off by saying Mr. Ruto started talking about, in fact you say, I'll quote, Ruto started talking about unity. He said that the Western communities should vote as a bloc. What did you mean, pausing there, by the Western communities? Mr. Witness?
I meant the communities which live in the western part of Kenya.
That include the Kalenjin,
Yes.
the Maasai,
Not really the Maasai.
Luyas,
Yes, the Luyas are found in western part.
anyone else?
Even the Luos.
The Luos. Carrying on then, he invited everybody to support Odinga. Next time they will support him, in brackets Ruto, close brackets, and the following time Mudavadi. Just check this. He suggested splitting Kenya in two. He said that in Kenya there are people who think they are more special than others. I believe Ruto was referring to the Kikuyus, who have been in power for so long. Just stop there for the moment. Is all of this, you agree that this is what you told the investigators?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of recording these details in your statement?
Sorry?
What was the purpose of recording these details I've just read out? Is there any reason specifically why you told this to the investigators?
Yes, it was to show that Ruto was anti-Kikuyus.
Does it say that?
Sorry?
What I've just read out, does it say that Ruto was anti-Kikuyu?
I'm not getting you.
Let me read the rest of the paragraph and then I'll take that point up again. So, repeating the last sentence, I believe Ruto was referring to the Kikuyu who have been in power for long. Ruto also mentioned business opportunities. He blamed the Kikuyu of holding almost all the businesses in Turbo. He went on to say that when he will be in charge of the government, he will implement Majimboism, which means that people from the region will practice business in their hometown, and they will not allow people from other regions to do it. They would be sent home, they would be sent back to their own area. Is that what you told the investigators?
Yes.
Now, I just want to understand the last part. I'll read the last sentence. He went on to say that when he will be in charge of the government, he will implement the Majimboism. And there's a dash, and it goes on, which means. I just want to understand clearly what's recorded here. The words following which means, is that your explanation of what Majimboism means? Or is that what you were attributing or attempting to attribute to Mr. Ruto?
That is what I was trying to formulate so that it can fit that Mr. Ruto never wanted people from another region.
I see. But you never told the investigators that Mr. Ruto said that he would not allow people from another region to practice business in the Rift Valley. He never said that according to you, did he?
I have not understood your question well.
All right, witness, here it is. In this paragraph, you see the word Majimboism appears. You see that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And after Majimboism, there is an explanation there. The explanation is, quote, which means that the people from the region will practice business in their hometown, and so on and so forth. The question is, this explanation that appears here, was it an explanation that you yourself supplied to explain to the investigators what Majimboism means? Or did, according to you, according to this statement, which you say was made up, are you saying that Mr. Ruto, according to the made-up story, had also explained this term, Majimboism, in that way?
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Those are my own words, which I used.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honours. Let's move on then to the next paragraph, 61, which states, quote, Ruto further said that if the votes were stolen in this election, then Kenya would not remain the same. He did not specify what he wanted to mean, but at the time I understood it to be what in fact happened after the announcement of the election results, colon, looting, burning of houses, and eviction of Kikuyu from the Rift Valley, unquote. So again, I want to be very clear that what you told the investigators, that Mr. Ruto said, is simply that if the votes were stolen, Kenya would not remain the same. And the rest of the paragraph is your interpretation. Is that right?
I didn't get you well.
Read the paragraph, please, Mr. Witness. And when you're done, tell us what part of that paragraph, according to your statement, is alleged to have been stated by Mr. Ruto, and what part is your own explanation and interpretation of what he stated.
Okay, thank you. At first, I'd say that this meeting, this political rally never took place, and I'd said that it was my own fabrication. So everything there is purely what I fabricated. There is nothing that is true there.
Yes, we understand that, Mr. Witness, but that wasn't the question. What I'm trying to understand is when you told this fabrication to the investigators, what you were trying to convey to them. And in this paragraph, you convey certain words that you attribute to Mr. Ruto. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And then there appears to be an explanation of what you understood, or you say those words mean. Do you understand?
Yes.
Looking at this paragraph, paragraph 61, which words did you intend to convey to the investigators as being words that Mr. Ruto uttered?
Okay, thank you. That Mr. Ruto said if the election, the votes, during the election, the votes will be stolen. And that if the votes were stolen, then Kenya will not remain the same.
That's it. Is that it?
Yes. Yeah.
So you never intended to convey that Mr. Ruto had said anything about looting, burning of houses, or the eviction of Kikuyu from the Rift Valley. That was your interpretation, according to this.
Yes.
Right. Now, you've told the chamber, Mr. Witness, that your main purpose in all of this, giving this statement, was in order to fix Mr. Ruto as regards his alleged involvement in the post-election violence. What part of these two paragraphs do you suggest would implicate Mr. Ruto in the post-election violence?
The paragraph 61.
That would be the words that if votes were stolen, Kenya would not remain the same? That's it?
Yes.
And how, in your estimation, would the uttering of those words implicate Mr. Ruto in the post-election violence?
Yes, it is that Mr. Ruto was sure that the ODM party was going to win the general election of 2007, and shows that Mr. Ruto meant that some other groups were planning to steal the votes. So I tend to believe that when Mr. Ruto uttered those words, that Kenya will not remain the same, showed that if the votes were going to be stolen, then the only option is to evict those the targeted group.
Did Mr. Ruto in fact say those words?
No.
So you could have chosen any words you wanted when you were fabricating the story and attributed those to Mr. Ruto, is that right?
And Mr. Can I just ask, Mr. President, of course this is a statement, and we see that the interview was over 3 days. Can I just clarify, is there a recording of that interview that is available? It hasn't been disclosed. Is a recording available? If clarification could be given.
I think my learned friend knows the answer to that very well. If there were a recording, it would have been transcribed and the transcription would have been disclosed in the ordinary course. This was not a witness who was cautioned under Article 55.2, therefore the provisions of the relevant rule, I think it's Rule 115, do not apply to this witness. I beg your pardon, Rule 112.
Proceed.
So, again, if I can find where I was before the intrusion, yes. You could have chosen any words you wanted in making up this version, is that right? Again, there's a long pause. Do you understand the question?
Sorry?
Let me put it this way. If your purpose, as you've stated, was to fix Mr. Ruto and to implicate him in the post-election violence, why did you choose words which are at best ambiguous and then put your own explanation to those words and not just attribute your explanation to Mr. Ruto?
Okay, I think those are the words that I could use at that time.
What does that mean? Those are the words that you could use at that time?
When I was explaining to the investigators.
I still don't understand what you mean about those were the words I could use at that time. Why did you choose those words? Out of all the words you could have chosen.
I can't give a reason.
Very well, we will then move on. At the bottom of the page currently before you, you'll see a heading which reads, Meeting at Ruto's home in Sigoi, mid-December 2007. And before we call up the next page, did you attend any such meeting at Mr. Ruto's home in mid-December 2007?
No.
Have you ever been to a meeting at Mr. Ruto's home?
No.
Are you aware of any such meeting having taken place at Mr. Ruto's home in December 2007?
I'm not aware.
So the details which follow that you told the investigators, where did you get that information from?
It was my makeup.
So before we read through the 24 paragraphs, do I understand you correct? Well, is there anything that you said about this meeting which is in fact true, or is it all made up?
It was all made up.
And what was the reason why you made up this story about the meeting at Mr. Ruto's house?
It was to show that Mr. Ruto held meetings in a meeting in his home where the post-election violence was planned.
And remind us again why you felt it necessary to invent such a story.
I've said it was to show that Mr. Ruto held meetings in his home whereby those meetings were used to plan how to attack the Kikuyus.
And in giving this, well, you've told us that you made this all up, so I presume you hadn't discussed this with any other person, or what details you should give about this meeting?
Initially, I said we had discussed.
Private session, please, Your Honour.
Private session.
We're in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Mr. Steinberg, how much longer do you anticipate remaining with the witness?
Your Honours, as the Chamber has no doubt noticed, the procedure of going through the statement is a fairly tedious one. I would hope that I would be able to finish that process by the lunch and adjournment. I then anticipate renewing the application I made on Friday, and I would imagine that if the outcome is favourable, I would require probably another 2 sessions.
You expect to finish the process in which you're now embarked by luncheon today?
It's possibly a little bit of an optimistic assessment, but I do think that there are certain aspects in which I can move over more swiftly than the critical aspects I'm dealing with now.
And then did you say you then anticipate, or that you don't anticipate renewing the application you'd made on Friday?
I do anticipate, Your Honours.
All right. We will adjourn now for a morning break. Witness, we will return in 30 minutes, and you remain under oath and also in the middle of your examination. Do not discuss your testimony with anybody during the break. All right?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, we will adjourn.
All rise. We will